Good afternoon. I'm the Reverend Joan Javier Duval, and I welcome you to the Unitarian Church of Montpelier as we gather in love and remembrance to honor the life of Meredith Stukey McGee. I just want to say I know it's an exceptionally warm afternoon, and if anyone is feeling much too overheated, there is an air-conditioned room off the vestry if you need to cool down. Meredith was a devoted wife, mother, sister, and friend. She was a skilled and compassionate nurse and a lover of the outdoors, adventure, food, and simple pleasures. Her life touched many. Today, in this sacred space, we come together as family, friends, neighbors, former colleagues. We form a community of remembrance that stretches beyond these walls, united in love and grief, and held by a love beyond measure. We especially hold Meredith's family, who are here today in our hearts, her husband James, children Bobby and Gracie, sister Lizzie, mother Sue, and a large extended family, aunts, uncle, cousins. We also remember those family members who have gone before us, whose presence we feel today. To each of you, we extend our deepest sympathy and loss and love in this time of loss. We all have gathered here to remember Meredith, to celebrate her well-lived life, and to grieve her death. We remember her as she was many years ago, just weeks ago, and in all of the moments in between. We remember her in times of her strength and times of vulnerability, in her moments of joy and her moments of sorrow. We remember her today in the fullness of her being across her 56 years. And we also come together this afternoon to mourn. We lost Meredith to her battle with cancer much too soon. She surely had more love to give and more living to do. Though her death was expected, both to Meredith and those who loved her, it also leaves a hole in our hearts and our lives. We mourn the absence of her warm and loving spirit, the loss of shared conversations, companionship, and of the deeper connections that time didn't allow us to forge. And yet, most of all, we come here this afternoon to invite Meredith's presence with us and to celebrate her life as we share stories, reflect on the ways she touched our lives, and honor all of who she was. Each of you holds your own memories, and as we remember Meredith today, we bring forth those images of her climbing stairs near and far, cooking up yet another new dish in the kitchen, dancing with energy and enthusiasm, listening and laughing with her whole being. In sharing these memories, we find comfort, and though we grieve, we do not do so alone. Together, we lift up Meredith's life with gratitude and love, allowing the pain of loss to be met with the healing power of remembrance. With full hearts and tearful gratitude, we honor Meredith today, knowing that as we carry her memory forward, we also find strength for the journey ahead. And as we begin our service, I invite Bobby McGee to light the chalice, symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. And I share these words by John Morgan. In the end, it won't matter how much we have, but how generously we have given. It won't matter how much we know, but rather how well we live. And it won't matter how much we believe, but how deeply we love. And I invite you all now to join your voices in singing Down to the River to Pray. The words are in your program. Just take out that insert. Please rise in body or spirit. Today, we remember and celebrate Meredith with shared stories and memories. And we will hear from several of Meredith's family and friends, starting with Mike Isabel.
Good afternoon. Meredith was a mother, a sister, a daughter, a wife, and our friend. But most of all, she was a quality human being whom we will all miss. And I thank God for the privilege of her friendship. We have known the McGees for over 20 years. She had excellent parents, a lovely sister, wonderful children, and as you all know, a strikingly handsome husband. We raised our kids together, spent holidays together, camped together, traveled together, were colleagues to each other, traded books with each other, shared the contents of our brains with each other. Meredith was my friend. I don't remember the first time I met Meredith, but I do remember the first time I was required to remember her. Our families did taekwondo together, and early on in that journey, during rotational sparring, I found myself facing Meredith. I figured I'd take it easy on her and let my guard down a bit. You know, that's when she kicked me in the head. I had officially met Meredith, and I never underestimated her again. She was fiercely intelligent, responsible, capable, fun-loving, and fair. Our politics and opinions didn't always match, but we were able to agree to disagree without vitriol. She was good company and a good friend. Last July, I lost my mother to cancer, and Meredith was quick to send her condolences. She knew Angie and understood what a bottomless loss it was for me. She would check in with me. Meredith and I were very good at checking in with each other. Over the last year or so, Meredith and I would have tea together at my shop whenever possible. We would discuss many things: her hopes, her family, her medical condition, etc. If I became too quiet, she would insist I complain about my woes. As you can imagine, considering her circumstances, I found it very difficult to complain about anything. She would insist. So in grand, dramatic, and theatrical fashion, I complained loudly with all the flourishes. God made me adept at professional idiocy, and I'd love to hear Meredith laugh. All of us who knew Meredith well loved her laugh, and we'll never forget it. On one particular winter day, I was at my shop doing paperwork, which meant I was listening to a podcast, sharpening tools, and avoiding paperwork. It was snowing. Meredith pulled up, and I was surprised. She came in and said how relieved she was that I was at my shop. She just needed a kind voice. Happy to oblige, I offered her tea, which she declined. She said she was tired, and she was going home to take a nap, but she was just so glad I happened to be at my shop. Nobody was more happy to be there for her than I. In that moment, she needed a person she could trust, a person to be present. I hugged her, told her how much I loved her, and that somehow, regardless of our interpretation, everything was going to be okay. She was facing that what we all must face in real time, cognitively aware. I think about that day often. Sometimes life puts you in the right place where you need to be at exactly the right time. Meredith needed a hug. I wish Meredith was here to hug us all. I was very honored to call Meredith my friend. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lizzie. I am Meredith's sister, and I'm already a mess. I don't know how this is going to go. This is my mom. Also, Meredith's mom, Sue. And we both have a little something to share, so Mom's going to go first.
Meredith was born in Midland, Texas, September 22nd, 1969, and received an official certificate as a true native Texan. We'd moved to Texas in 1967 from Albuquerque, New Mexico, when Art finished his PhD in geology at UNM and started work at Texaco, while I worked as a physical therapist. Meredith was born as a little 6-pounder, but soon grew and flourished in the Texas sunshine. We were busy working and studying, attending a small UU congregation, and enjoying the friendship of neighbors and co-workers. After a year or two, we packed up and moved to New Jersey, of all places, where Art continued his graduate degree work toward a PhD in engineering geology at Rutgers. And I worked as a PT at a rehab center nearby. While we were in New Jersey, we welcomed our second daughter, Elizabeth, Lizzie, into our family, and our family was complete. Meredith was definitely the big sister and led the way into fun and mischief, always keeping an eye on Lizzie. When the girls were 4 and 6, Art had the opportunity to work on an engineering project in Iran, so off we all went. I can still remember holding one child in each hand as we walked off the plane and onto the tarmac in the dusk of the early evening in Iran. There were frogs chirping, the heat was palpable. There we were. For the next 3 years, with one trip home at Christmas, we lived and grew and learned the ways of our new life. Meredith and Lizzie were soon speaking French, the language of the French construction workers who were building the dam, and thus also their small elementary school. When we went back to the States on an occasional vacation, it was a real treat to hear the 2 girls speaking in French to each other. Caused some heads to turn. Back in the States, we settled in Evanston, Illinois. The girls grew and flourished. Meredith was always a little anxious as a child, but soon grew more and more confident in herself and gained many friends, many of whom remain friends today. She went on to get a degree in anthropology, moved to Vermont, visiting her Uncle Ted and Aunt Cosette, discovered nursing, soon had her degree from Norwich University, where she met her husband, James, here in Vermont. They married in 1993 and settled happily in Morrisville, building a house in the forest and raising their family, Robert and Gracie McGee. Meredith was a strong, thoughtful, and caring human being. She loved her family, her friends, and we will all miss her very much.
Thanks, Mama. Being a little sister has a lot of perks. I've also had the good fortune to be a little sister to one of the all-time greats. Mare's MO was eat the world and leave no crumbs. If you knew her, you knew that. She was my protector, my challenger, and my built-in bestie, bushwhacking her way down the path only a few steps ahead of me, but making all the difference for being there first. I've never known life without a big sister. Stop it. Mare was the brave one, the fighter, the sport. She was the one who could do cartwheels down the hall and execute a perfect dive. When we were kids and on into high school, Mare enjoyed wrestling and roughhousing with me and her friends, making up mixed martial arts before that was a thing. She was tough to beat, and my husband Tom often said she wasn't afraid to throw an elbow. I hear you, Mike, on that head kick. But we also played endless games of pretend. In this game, we share an apartment, and we have cool androgynous names like Tony or Joe. And our parents have, of course, died in a fiery crash. And we have boyfriends, and we know how to cook. We made up radio plays and recorded them on our little black tape recorder. The time bomb is now set. We spent so many hours playing goofy made-up games in the lake up at the cabin that I started to walk across the road with my arms out like this. And it's not that growing up was easy for her. She was blessed with the same thread of anxiety as the rest of our kind, but refused to let anxiety make her life small. If anything, it lit a fire that pushed her forward. Mare never shrank from nothing. She didn't care for elevators, but she never met a stair she didn't want to climb. Always game for our family backpacking trips while I pined over the tourist traps along the Kankamagus Highway. Mare kept climbing mountains even after she didn't have to. After college, Mare honored the country mouse in her soul and struck out on her first great adulting adventure, moving to Vermont, meeting and marrying that guy with the Harley. In time, building a beautiful log home in the woods where she would raise both children and chickens. Nursing started as a way to make some money in a tough job market, but became one of her superpowers. She gave care, companionship, humor, and guidance to her patients and extended community at Copley for nearly 30 years. Folks remembered when Mare was their nurse, and her team at Copley took such good care of her when it was her turn to need them. All of that traveling that we did as kids took root in Mare. Our regular summer trips to Vermont were mixed in with trips to the Southwest. The Dude Ranch in Colorado, climbing around the alien rock formations at Arches National Park, renting a horse and learning to fish for our summer in Utah. Mare would ride Flash from our apartment complex over to the rodeo ring while Mom let me shift our little Toyota back and forth from first to second gear, back to first, back to second, just ahead of them. You're allowed. You look afraid. When she was grown, she traveled anywhere she could. Seattle, New York, Florida, New Orleans, Maine, Chicago, of course, Paris, Ireland, Scotland, Lebanon. She loved to travel for the new foods, for the new places to see, new stairs to climb. I'm looking at you, Sacré-Cœur. Having fun with family and friends, and over again impressing herself with her own courage and sense of adventure. She had a tremendous love of reading. She liked to credit herself with teaching me to read when we were 4 and 6. It could be true. Malala herself once commented on one of Mare's posts in an online book club and made her year. Taekwondo and Zumba gave her so much joy, a chance to dance and sweat and play and feel the power in her own body and spirit. Among other things, cancer is a bully. Oh, dear. Mare met that bully with signature strength, insight, and smarts. She would take herself out on long walks during which she would offer herself comfort and encouragement, puzzle through her latest symptoms and treatment, and remember how beautiful it is to be in the woods. Toward the end of her life, she was surprised and shaken to find her body so weak. The gift and the curse of cancer is time to distill what you value most in your life and to say your goodbyes. Mare worked hard to stay as long as she could. She had a lot she wanted to stick around for. Family, friends, food, moving her body, going to the ocean, watching her hummingbirds zipping around on the porch. She was holding out as long as there were still good days to be had, when being sick wasn't the only thing she had energy to be. I, and all of us, I think, will always wish she got to have more. But y'all, she had a lot of good days. I'm gonna miss her loud and generous laughs, her fierce loyalty, her tendency to burst into song, and her always loving companionship. She's shaped me in ways I know, and even more ways that I probably don't. I love you, sis. You crushed it.
Can you hear me now? Okay, good. There, sound check. I'm Uncle Ted, you may have heard of, or may not. My earliest memories of Meredith and her sister Lizzie are of 2 little, very young girls who spoke very good English. And also, by the way, spoke French. And also, by the way, spoke Farsi. They had just returned from Iran with their parents and stayed with Cosette and me for a short time while Sue and Art got their family home ready for them on their return to the States after the several years of Art's work as a geologist on that dam project in Iran. Since they and their family settled in the house in Evanston as their home, we didn't see a whole lot of them for most of their growing up years. Apparently, though, their early stay in Vermont had made an impact on Meredith, since after graduation from college, she decided to come here to see what life in Vermont was like and figure out her next steps. She stayed with us for the summer and found work at the Stowe Mountain Resort, where she worked as a messenger. One of her messenger stops was the resort kitchen. She mentioned to us in passing that she had met this really nice guy who worked there and who had a really cool motorcycle. That actually worked out rather well for all concerned. Amen. But we didn't see very much of her after she married James, became a nurse, began raising their 2 children. She was so busy raising them that she barely had time for ongoing nurses training, friends, sports, and her work at the hospital. Throughout her life, Meredith was fully engaged with the world around her and the people in it. Whatever she did 100%. And whoever she was with them 100%. When she first stayed with us after college, I watched a 4-night marathon presentation of Wagner's 4-opera Ring Cycle on PBS. She voluntarily sat with me for all 4 nights and watched and listened to the entire 12-hour series and really got into the story. In later years, when I was helping to organize a fundraiser for the People's Health and Wellness Clinic, she volunteered to provide Zumba for anyone who came to the event, and she helped lead the activity with her friends. We raised a lot of money for the clinic, and our participants had a blast. In still later years, back when I was only 80, I had a total knee replacement done at Copley. Word was out there that I was Meredith's uncle. I have been in several hospitals several times over the years, but I have never had more responsive and attentive care than I got as a result of that awareness. When I pressed the call button, it was answered in person before I put the call button down. Meredith was the magic presence. She has always been that and will always live as magical in my memory.
Let's try this. Okay. I'm Luciana, and if you live in the Mooresville area, you know me as the other Zumba teacher. Or maybe Meredith was the other Zumba teacher. It all depends on whose class you went first. But if you've been to my class, you've been to Meredith's class, and vice versa. As I prepared today's speech, and I look around the room, I kept thinking, who would have guessed that a life in Mooresville, Vermont would have such large, broad reach? A woodworker, Texan, woodworker, nurse, martial arts athlete, community member, Zumba teacher. such a mix of people here, all connected to Meredith in some way or another. I met Meredith the year that she became a Zumba instructor, which was also the year that I became a Zumba instructor in 2015. She told me that she fell into the job because the instructor she went to classes decided to stop teaching or was moving away, something like that. But the lady told Meredith she was really good at it and she should take over her class. And she did. Otherwise, there was no Zumba class for her to attend twice a week. And she just loved to dance, so she couldn't have that stop. But we didn't meet at the same instructor's training. That year, after getting my license, I went looking for other instructors in the area. There were not many. The closest ones were in Stowe or the other way in Essex. I was teaching in Hyde Park. So somehow I heard that there was one instructor in Morrisville, and I showed up at her class. Maybe I was just checking out the competition. No, just kidding. I just wanted to connect, find my people, and that's what Meredith became. She became my people. After the first class, we started a wonderful friendship that went beyond Zumba. In the beginning, Meredith wasn't really big about going to Zumba events. Zumba has a bunch of classes for instructors, trainings, and being in Vermont, of course, they require quite amount of driving. And she was quite busy, like Meredith. But eventually, I like to tell myself that I convinced her to join me in some of those adventures. Our first ever Zumbathon. For you that don't know what a Zumbathon is, that is a fundraiser of some sort for any cause, really. You put a bunch of instructors in a room, invite a bunch of people that like Zumba to dance, and donate for the cause. And there you have a Zumbathon. So basically, a variety of instructors will take turns going up front, lead a song or two, and the participants will bring the donations and dance for a full hour or two, sometimes even more. Anyway, we had our first debut Zumbathon co-instructing one song. Here we were, two very green instructors to go on a stage and lead a song in front of a bunch of strangers. But we were very serious about it. If you know Meredith, we scheduled time together. We selected the song, we learned the choreography, we rehearsed until we were ready. And yes, I still remember the song and the outfit, because years later we would point at each other like, when one of us wore the matching orange top, we both owned. Maybe a silly thing for two grown women to have matching tops, but we made good memories, and it brought us closer, wearing matching outfits, just like if we were two schoolgirls. That event was in November 2015 for a COTS fundraising committee for temporary shelter, and it ended up in the Burlington Free Press with a picture of all instructors and another of both Meredith and I, and some other people behind us, dancing. And I brought it. I'll have that on a computer later for you guys to check it out. Then over the years, we went to multiple events together, fundraisers, Zumbathons. We taught special classes together, including an annual New Year Day class that filled the local school's gym. And we went to jam sessions, where we learned new choreographies to add to our repertoire. And sometimes we would meet just to practice those choreographies. We would dance and dance until we got them right. In 2017, We also took a license to teach a high-intensity interval training class called Strong by Zumba. We love to dance, but we learned that Strong was the next level workout, and we loved the results. Meredith loved that thing so much because it brought some martial arts movements and had music in it. What a perfect combination, she would say. She was so disciplined. She would practice in the gym area she set up in their basement, just for fun. More than once, she told me that she's never been in such great shape in her life. We were ripped. We were. We even took a trip to Montreal for a training with the founder of Strong. It made it a very, very fun day trip. At that point, one of our students also became a strong student, instructor, Jessica. We even did our own photo shoot at the Oxbow Park in Mooresville, wearing Strong branded outfits and doing some exercises, taking pictures, kicks, just to promote our classes. We had so much fun. I could not believe how she could kick her legs so high. I'm like, how can you do that? She told me that it was from her years in martial arts. And then there were our babies. Wait, let me explain. We did some mentoring. In Zumba, we call the students that want to become instructors Zumba babies. We both mentored Sujata, a young lady from Nepal that loved to dance, and that was for Zumba. And I guess we called Jessica our strong baby. They both ended up moving out of Vermont, but they're still our babies. We will talk about them in our conversations. So through this friendship, we found other passions we had in common, like reading books, especially the books from our friend Anne. Hey, who can say they have a published writer as a close friend? We could. Good food, and of course, the beach. We went to local school plays, Tuesday night lives, and just sat by the porch during the summer. And after I moved to Florida in 2022, she visited me for chats by the hammock. We went on walks at parks. We looked for manatees. We ate good seafood, drank margaritas, and watched sunsets by the beach. So over the 11 years that I had Meredith in my life, my Zumba friend became my friend. I miss her.
Wow, there is more of you than I thought. I have my own little speech, but also one of my best friends, Reem, is Mom's extra daughter, and she's currently on a flight to Costa Rica, so I'm going to read her thing for her. I'm not sure what I can say about the beautiful person Meredith was that hasn't been said already. Meredith was my second mom, my actual mom. I'm not sure when I started this little tradition, but once I started calling her that, there was no going back. She was incredible, so kind, abundantly caring, going out of her way to do the small things which meant the world and amounted to so much. What a freaking amazing person. I genuinely cannot emphasize that enough. Just being around her, he felt such light, warmth, radiance, and positivity. It's like if the best qualities about yourself were exemplified just by being in her presence. I remember asking her so many questions, whether it be something dumb medical-wise, like if I should be worried about my finger getting jammed to the basketball, or about her life or advice she has to offer. She had so many stories to tell, especially with James, who really made storytelling hour into an IMAX theater experience. Sorry, exposition. Her hugs were rejuvenating and so reassuring, silently telling you, you've got this with just one hug. I remember our trip to Lebanon together and how wonderfully obscure it was to have someone from Vermont join us. I remember hiking through the Cedar Tree National Forest together, her eyes so collectively in thought with her memories from her time in Iran during her youth. Exploring centuries-old buildings together and getting to share my mom and I's culture was so special, and she soaked it all in. Taking it all in stride. Everything from my grandmother's coffee, which can be described as possibly drinking mud, to the wild car rides through Beirut, exchanging crazy-eyed glances toward each other, savoring everything. I also remember a trip to Fairleigh, Vermont that I was able to go on with Meredith, Gracie, and my mom. It was such a serene day, marked with shared laughter, stories, and Meredith watching as Gracie and I made the questionable decision of drinking out of the lake with our life straws. Refreshing. I look fondly at the pictures we have, the moments I've been so honored to share with her and her family. And as I'm sure most of you know, while pictures can share 1,000 words, her recipes could share 1 million. If anyone was capable of somehow sharing a part of their soul through food, it would definitely include Meredith. Her ginger cookies, there are a bunch downstairs, by the way. Her into food cake, her naan bread, her mango cheesecake. I mean, come on, star quality behavior. Meredith is one of those people whose life tremendously impacted not only her immediate community, but that on a global scale. If you had the honor to know her personally, then you are so lucky. And if you didn't, just know that the world is and was made a better place with her in it. Her ability to accept you for who you are and love you without any hesitation is awe-inspiring and something to be done by all. As I write this in Boston, surrounded by trees and green grass, I know that she is here. She's in the birds singing, she's in the wind breezing, she's still supporting us, still hugging us, still the MVP, which, by the way, in this scenario is Meredith Vaughn Perfection. I wish she was here, but I know she is happy, getting the best food, the best views, the best swims, driving her motorcycle, and getting ready to give us the best hugs once again. I love you, Meredith. So that one was Reams. Dear Mom, even though we all knew that this day was going to come sooner than expected, since your first diagnosis when I was in 8th grade, that by no means makes this moment easier. You were the first person I called when I had good news or bad, was bored and just wanted to chat, was freaking out, or wanted to know how often I should take Tylenol, or if I should be worried about a can of beans having a dent in it. I ended up just getting a new can of beans. That was last week. I had to call 3 different relatives and still got new beans. Whenever I was moving somewhere new, whether it be into the college dorms, Ireland, grandma's house, or in my boyfriend Gary, the night before, you would come into my room, sit on the front of my bed, and check in with me to see how I was doing. Every Christmas Eve, we would sit together on the couch, and you would read me The Night Before Christmas. I wish we had gotten the chance to go to Paris together again, now that I'm at least slightly less of a picky eater, and I'm much better at traveling than I was at 16. I remember that you'd asked our cousin Sharon to teach you how to drink wine before our trip, as you hadn't really had alcohol in years, and you wanted to make sure you could properly enjoy all the French food. One night we were in Paris. We had dinner at the Frolof's house. Madame Frolof made lamb for dinner, and afterwards they served cheese and bread. You were trying your best to be polite and not eat all of the cheese yourself, but Monsieur Frolof, with his slightly limited English, pushed the plate towards you and told you that you eat cheese like a Frenchman because you'd been smearing soft cheeses on pieces of baguette, enjoying every bite. Needless to say, you then ate all of the cheese. It's often remarked upon whenever one of us is on a trip that it's not a vacation without stairs. This might be a theme you've noticed, because you always seem to find the tallest set of stairs to climb wherever you're visiting, to the point that I've been known to take pictures of stairs when I'm on a trip without you and send them to you. Even you thought there might be a few too many stairs between the metro station and Sacré-Cœur, though, because that may have just been because of the lack of a view, given that it was essentially a vertical tunnel from the metro to the top of the mountain, especially considering you're perfectly happy to repeatedly climb the outdoor steps of Sacré-Cœur on your solo Paris trip. I really regret that I didn't hug you more often. That was totally a me thing. For some reason, I would only really hug you at airports, graduations, or when there was bad news. I'm glad that I got better about that in the last couple of years, at least, but there will never be a way to make up for that lost time. You've been there for so many of the big moments in my life. First day of middle and high school, getting my first and second car, helping me move into and out of dorm rooms, whether it be Johnson or Dublin, But there were so many firsts you won't be there for, and so many big moments you won't get to see. Yes, you helped me move into my first real apartment with Gary, but you'll never get to see my future house. You won't get to dance at my wedding, which you and Dad love to do. You were there for so many of my firsts, and I'm sad you won't get to be there for any other firsts. I'm glad that I got to be with you at the end, though, holding your hand, telling stories with Dad, Lizzie, and Grandma, and telling you over and over how much I love you, Mom, because there's no way to ever say it enough. I love you, Mom, and I miss you so, so much.
Hello. Of course, I scribbled this so small, I need my glasses. There we go.
One of us can.
Yeah.
I said stop bullying him, Janet.
Nah, never mind. Anyway, once again, thank you all for coming here again today to help celebrate one heck of a person. People tell you if you have to do a speech in front of a large crowd, it should envision the people either naked or in their underwear. I'd like to thank everyone for not doing that. Meredith was a part of my life for a few months back in 1990. Then she was my life. People here today were also very big parts of the journey. Family and cousins, co-workers, Zumba people, Taekwondo people, I see you all out there. People she grew up with back in high school and in college that I met when I first, got taken to Chicago, she's still friends with. When Meredith moved to Vermont that summer, she took a job after graduation, after the mountain company, her first job in Vermont when we were a couple, she spent the winter at a place called the Scandinavian Inn, home of the Trolls. She was the head housekeeper of a staff of herself. Part of the idea of being a housekeeper at the hotel had the thought maybe we should run an Airbnb. Well, after a winter at the Scandinavian, the answer was no. Stay at an Airbnb, don't own one. After that, she started over at McCurley Healthcare. It was a nursing home, but it was easy to get there with no former nursing degrees. She got her LNA. She did a much better match with the healthcare. That's when she moved up to Copley. Still as an LNA, did her thing at Norwich. One of her long-term friends up there, they started about the same time as LNAs at Copley. They're both nurses and perioperative till recently. And it's a good thing that today is a Saturday, else the OR and the PACU would be closed right now. I think there's a little too many folks here from there. We got our first home right after we were married. Actually, it was being delivered while we were on our honeymoon. It was a mobile home, but it was nice. Mobile home, went to log cabin, had professionals do the shell and concrete. We did the interior. I can show you some walls where I definitely screwed them up. She helped get the nurses union started and running at Copley with the rest of the whole team. And both of my children worked the picket line. Bobby had his own sign. Gracie wasn't born yet. As kids got older, homeschooling, Bobby did do kindergarten. He assisted every few Mondays as a milk truck operator with me, working overnight from 10:30 p.m. to 9 a.m. He got to know all the cats and cows. Anyway, Meredith decided that we need to do something for more exercise. Extra energy needs to be burned off. So Taekwondo it was. We started with Master Dunleavy's Academy on Portland Street in Morrisville, and she threw everything into it. Meredith ended up becoming, I'm pretty sure, second degree. Bobby was a first degree. Gracie was green.
They had black belts, I didn't.
I was a failed white belt.
That
But-
was my fault, sorry.
But I was allowed to hang out and participate other ways. Anyway, too many friends and teammates to mention there, but this is where we met the Isabels. And Mike did get kicked in the head. So after a while, things happen. People grow. The children were growing older. Gracie and I were definitely not there as much. And things changed. That's when, as Luciana said, it was Zumba. Oh, like she said, took some classes, person left. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the teacher. All right, walk in the house from work, and the walls would be vibrating with some song. Don't know what it was, but you got used to them. They were all pretty catchy, upbeat. It was fun to hear. As she mentioned, there was Zumbathons or classes in Montreal, Florida, New York, traveling. Some of my old restaurant coworkers from our early days attended her Zumba classes at the Catholic Church. The church ladies weren't too sure about these younger girls over there in the Crosby Center. A little too much jiggle going on here. But eventually, they got used to it. Once again, people from the various Zumba classes became good friends. Luciana was one of the best. When Luciana moved to Florida, one April, she said, probably in early March, I'm going to go visit Luciana in Florida next month. All right, she's in Florida, sunny, the beaches. I drove to work that day in 4.5 inches of slop. But it was okay. I stayed home. As has been mentioned, food was always a big part of Meredith's thing. Let's go try something different. Let's do this. Let's do that. My first trip to Chicago, I was brought home that summer as look who I found. Meeting her friends there, I was intimidated. I think they were all like Mensa candidates. They were wicked smart. We got there, the first night was Japanese. We had Korean food. We had Ethiopian food. On about the 5th night, where do you want to go to dinner tonight? Somewhere where they have forks. The outdoors was big. Early 2000s, car and tent camping with our van, or a trip to D.C., Washington, D.C. We stayed in a park that was filled with ticks, deer smaller than German shepherds. A hurricane that came in, maybe a tornado or two. It was a good time. We took the month of May off one year. Well, no, before that, we bought a Dutchman camper, so it was a bunkhouse, plenty of room for everyone. And that got used to go to Quebec City, Prince Edward Island, all around Vermont. Then that next May, we took the whole month off. Chicago, visit the folks, down through St. Louis into Texas, Palo Duro Canyon, largest ranch in Texas at one point. Charles Goodnight ran it. In the Depression, the CCC turned it into a campground. We went out to Mesa Verde. She said on the way back, we're going to go back to Palo Duro. I really like that. Okay, so there we were. It was on that month-long trip, we ended up in Lake Darrendale, Arkansas. If you look way out across the reservoir, there's the 3 cooling towers from the nuclear plant. And at that campground, I had to unhook the campers to move the truck forward to get the camper level. Meredith drove that far in 1 month. Well, it was my job to drive. It was her job to tell me where to go, how to get there, and keep the kids in line. It worked. As things happened, kids were getting older, a little less camping. Big camper got sold. Winter of 23, 24, she said, you know what? You should get that little camper you've always wanted. So I put an order in for a casita. Little 17-foot, as we called it, our fiberglass tent. Had a bed, refrigerator, had a bathroom, take a shower in. It was wonderful. I brought it home, 4,200-mile round trip that time. We put almost 10,000 miles on it that year. The small trip in Vermont, so Meredith and I could get used to it together. Then 2,000 miles to my sister's house for a wedding and back. Staying with my cousins in New Jersey on the way down and back. They love food too. This year, even last winter, before Christmas, there was a notebook page being filled up. This is where we should try to go. This is where we should go again. Alas, camper was ready by early April. We just were not. This June, Meredith told us again, when we were at the UVM hospital, what her wishes were. She told us and the hospital staff, do not resuscitate, do not intubate. She was adamant about that. And when that became too much of a possibility, the intubation, when we were down in Berlin, it was decided that we were going to go from from critical care to comfort care. This was Meredith's decision. If I can die in my sleep, I'm going to call it a win. I will have beat cancer. Early July, she did. We were all in the room, Lizzie, Sue, Gracie, myself. Bobby had visited the day before. Hospitals wigged me out. I didn't want to be there. But I was the chauffeur. I was the partner. I was the one who was told, stop adjusting my pillow. Leave those sheets alone.
Don't touch my glasses.
Yeah. Ask before you touch something. Then the doctor said, would you like me to do something? Yes, please, go ahead. See, he asked. All right, I got fairly well trained. It's only been, well, as of today, 34 years we were married. This is our 34th anniversary. But I also need to reach out and thank the family team, Lizzie, Gracie, Sue, a little advice from my sister here and there. And she was actually not very cynical at the time. But I think because of these women in my life, this part has been possible for me to get through fairly well. Lizzie's a phone call away. Most anybody's a phone call away. If I don't call you, maybe the phone's been ringing so darn much, I keep turning it off. That is something that happens. Set my own limits of people time or which people I want to see. Folks I haven't seen in person pop up at the grocery store all the time. Well, it used to take me an hour to go grocery shopping for 6 items. Now it's almost 2 hours. But there's plenty of community out there. I'm looking out here, I see neighbors, people from the old Taekwondo studio. My former bosses from Bournes are here. Peter has been great over the years, randomly dropping a card in the mail to send Meredith a note. It's just been a mess, but it's been a good mess. Like Gracie said, we knew this day was going to come, just not when was it. And I think I should stop talking and sit down. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you for sharing so openly and tenderly with us. Let us pause now to let these memories and those that might have come up for you sink in and to feel Meredith's presence among us. May these memories and those that are unspoken nourish you and keep Meredith with you. Let us share in a moment of silence together. And let us join our voices in song one last time. I invite you to join in singing The Parting Glass. You'll need to flip over that insert and open it up to see the words. And once again, please rise in body or spirit. As we close our service, let us breathe in this moment with gratitude for life's gifts of beauty, love, and grace. Let us affirm together the cycles of life and death, for we know that we are all part of an endless and mysterious cycle of existence. May all who feel deep pain and loss in these days be lifted on wings of love and hope and receive a balm of healing. Where there might linger any misunderstanding, alienation, or regret, may there be the healing power of forgiveness. Where there has been warmth and love, may there be the healing power of gratitude. And let us give thanks for Meredith's passionate and generous spirit and for the legacy that she leaves in the world. May we go from here honoring the preciousness of each day, holding one another tightly, and lending one another strength in this time of sadness and loss. As we extinguish the chalice, may the warmth of our love and the memories that we shared bless us in the days to come. We close our service with Meredith's fun-loving and joyful spirit ever present. You're welcome to make your way downstairs for the reception after the family has exited the sanctuary. And now we will hear the postlude.
Machale, 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 machale.